Welcome to Whiskey's Journey. My name is Peter Faciano, and today you're going to be watching my first segment of my top 5 single barrel bourbons. If you're new here, what I'm basically doing is taking 5 bottles, or in this case today, 6 bottles of single barrel bourbons that I have in my collection. I'm going to nose them, taste them, and then rank them. And then I'm going to take the winner of the individual flight, and I'm going to move it on to the next round. So far, I've been doing scotches and bourbons, and my idea here is to do 5 flights of scotches and 5 flights of bourbons, and then take the winner of the 5 and put them together to see which one I like the most in my collection. So today we're doing single barrel bourbons, and I'm going to do 2 flights of single barrel bourbons, one now and then one later in December, probably towards the end of December of 2023. So let's go ahead and jump into this with my 6 single barrel bourbons. So bottle number 1, glass number 1 is going to be Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. This bottle is coming in at 132.3 proof, and I paid $68.99, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, if you don't know. Okay, in glass number 2, John J. Bowman, a single barrel. This is coming in at 100 proof, and I paid $59.99. Again, that's in glass number 2. Glass number 3, Knob Creek 9 single barrel. This is coming in at 120 proof, and I paid $52.99, and that's going to be, again, in glass number 3. Moving on to glass number 4, Russell's Reserve single barrel. I paid $75.99, and this one is coming in at 110 proof. Again, in glass number 4. Let me get these out of the way, and I've got 2 more glasses. In glass number 5, I'm going to have a 4 Roses single barrel. This is 100 proof, and I paid $44.99. That's going to go here, and these are just placeholders right now. Eventually, I will be mixing them up. Now, to my last and final 6th bottle. And an Evan Williams single barrel. I do understand that this is now a Kentucky only release, but at the time that I bought it, it was $31.99 in Phoenix, Arizona. And this was put in oak in 2014. And we're looking at the lowest proof here. This one is 86.6 proof, and that is going to be in glass number 6. All right, this looks a little bit intimidating. Let me go ahead and get the lids off of these. Start mixing them around, and then nose them, taste them, and then rank them. Now, again, my idea here is to try to be able to figure out what whiskeys I have in my collection that I like the most. Single barrel bourbons, I have decided to use just the normal on-the-shelf single barrels. I don't want to put in store picks just yet because I don't think that everybody obviously is going to have a Total Wine & More store pick in their area, or they might have a Trevor's Liquor in your area. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing the readily available shelfer single barrel bourbons to get an idea of what is what with me and what I prefer in my collection. Now, I do have these marked on the bottom of what they are. It's not really necessarily about guessing which one they are, but I will be guessing on which single barrel bourbon I have in the glass. And I did this flight a couple of weeks ago over at my brother-in-law John and my sister Mary Bridget's house. And to my dismay, I actually guessed every single glass correctly. Now, that was then, this is now, so let's go ahead and kind of see where we're at. I'm going to run through the nose on each, run through the palate on each, run back the other direction, and then rank them. So let's get into glass number 1. And you'll know because I have them written down on the bottom here of what's what. All right, that seems to be a little bit spicy, kind of your classic bourbon notes, good amount of oak. Yeah, smells pretty good. Glass number 2. All right, that one doesn't seem to have much of anything right now. Seems to be pretty much classic vanilla, oak, brown sugar, not a whole lot of ABV. Let's go ahead and go glass number 3. Again, not a whole lot. This one's coming across as a little bit more dusty than the other two. Maybe a little bit higher in ABV. Yeah, it smells pretty classic as well, but more on the nutty, dusty side than those. All right, no doubt about this one. I know what that one is. Yeah, this one comes across as Bananas Foster. Very chocolatey. Good amounts of vanilla, leather, tobacco. I definitely know what that one is. That one smells really good. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the fifth one. But this is really fruity. Okay, I know what this one is. Yeah, this one is extremely fruity. Grape popsicle stick. And if you know grape popsicle stick, you probably know what this one is. Yeah, I like the nose on that one quite a bit. And let's get to the last one. Again, this one seems originally dead on the nose. Not a lot of proof on this one, or at least compared to that, which I'm surprised that this came across as fruity as it did after coming off of this one. Get a little bit of a mint in this, which may be a telltale sign of what this one is as well. But yeah, they all smell pretty good. I mean, they smell like your typical bourbons, but there definitely is distinct differences with all of them. I get banana in here, I get spice in here, I get dusty in here, I get grape popsicle stick in here, I get a little bit of mint in this one. I gotta go back to that. Yeah, this one seems to be oak and spice. I like all of them. They all smell really good. Let's go ahead and run through the palette on these and see what we got. Good ABV, nice amount of oak, pretty high on the spice, and it would be baking spice. The sweetness kind of hits a little bit to the mid palate and a little bit further back to the finish. And that's really good. And just to let you know, I have water sitting over here. In between sips, I just take a little bit of water, but I don't show that all the time. So I do need something to clear my palate. Right, glass number 2. Comes across a little bit low on the ABV, but all of the classic bourbon notes are there. Oak, brown sugar, vanilla, maybe not a whole lot of caramel, but that is your typical bourbon. All right, glass number 3. Initially really high on the ABV, very nutty, very dusty. I have a good idea of what that one is. That one is I really do like the profile on this. You get hit with a good amount of oak. There's leather, tobacco, good amount of spice. That nutty note comes through. It develops into a little bit of a sweetness as it goes to the back, and the finish just kind of lingers around, and you get some really good typical bourbon notes along with a pretty long finish. And I like the ABV in that one as well. All right, on to number 4. No doubt about this one. Banana, chocolate, vanilla, leather, oak, deep, rich, dark notes. And to balance everything off, it has a really good amount of sweetness without going over the top. And definitely the highest proof of all of them so far. My mouth is just radiating and I'm salivating. That one's really good. Just trying to keep track in my head. It's definitely between these two fighting for first and second spot. Two totally different profiles on the nose and on the palate. I think these would definitely be mood pours. I can see myself grabbing either one of these or reaching for either one of these on any particular day based on what I want. Do I want dark and fruity, or do I want spicy, classic, dusty, nutty flavors? This is definitely bringing up the rear, and this is probably going to be my third place up to this point. But I still have 2 left to do, so let's go ahead and get a rinse and then move on to the other 2. All right, glass number 5. Grape popsicle stick. Low on the proof. It does have some good flavors in it, but it doesn't seem to want to develop into anything. That grape popsicle stick, that oak note and that sweetness is pretty consistent from the front all the way to the back. Doesn't linger around very long. Really good flavor, but it doesn't have a whole lot to offer compared to these two or this one. All right, one last rinse, and then we'll taste the 6th bottle and move back the other direction. All right, glass number 6. Yeah, this is heavy on the mint. A little bit higher in ABV than this one. Minty sweet, good oak, a little bit of leather, slight amount of chocolate note as well. Yeah, this is pretty good. These two in my mind right now are vying for the same position. I would put this one behind these two and this one in last place so far. These two are vying for first and second. All right, I'm gonna speed this part up. I'm gonna work my way back. I don't think much is going to change, but you never know, moving back the other direction. I'm gonna do another rinse, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I don't think my order changed in any way. I did solidify the position of these two and these two. And as I went back the other direction, I realized that there is a specific note that is missing from all of these, and that is the cherry note. Sometimes in bourbons, I get a pretty good cherry, and these are definitely lacking that cherry note. If any of them have a slight cherry note or something that would be resembling a cherry note, I would probably say that this is probably the closest to the cherry note. And I do like cherry notes in the whiskey, but as I was going through them, I definitely noticed that it wasn't there in any of these. This one came close, but it's gone. I think it's a pretty easy decision as far as what I prefer on this particular day. Let me go ahead and give you my ranking, and then I'll try to guess, and I'm pretty sure I have a good idea of what all of these are. When you know what's in the flight and you're familiar with the whiskeys or familiar with the bourbons, I think they're easy to tell apart. But again, you never know from day to day how individual whiskeys are going to impact your palate. So in sixth place, my last glass is going to be this. It seems to fall flat. Low ABV, low flavor. Let me take that back. They all have flavor. They're all very good. But since this is a top 5 or a top 6 in this case, I do need to rank them 6th through 1st, and there has to be something in last place. And based on everything that I have in the glass, this one does not stand out the most. So this is going to be in 6th place. All of the classic flavors are there. It just does not deliver what the rest of them do. In 5th place, I'm going to put the grape popsicle stick because that is pretty much all this is. In 4th place, I'm going to jump over to this glass. It just has a little bit too much mint for me. And if you're new here, just to let you know, I'm not a big rye fan. And usually rye comes across as minty, menthol, piney, dill. Now this doesn't have much of anything in there other than the mint. And that is just turning me off a little bit for this one. So I've got 6, 5, 4, and then these two are definitely my 1st and 2nd. So this is going to be my 3rd place. I really do like everything that's in this glass. I like the proof. There's a little bit of a dusty note in here. I don't get a whole lot of cherry, but of all of these that are here, this one has what I consider to be the closest thing to a cherry note. So that's going to be my 3rd place. Now my 1st and 2nd are coming down to these two. If I'm gonna want something sweet, dark, leather, chocolate, I'm gonna go with this. If I want a little more of a dusty, spicy, nutty, higher proof, I'm gonna reach for this. This is also high proof. So today, and my palate, I'm actually gonna put this one in 2nd place, and I'm gonna put this one in 1st place. This just seems to be the most complex, complete, well-balanced single barrel bourbon based on my palate as of right now. So this is going to be 1st, this is going to be 2nd. Now, as far as what I think they are, my guess is going to be this is going to be the Knob Creek 9 single barrel. This is definitely going to be the Jack Daniel's. There's no mistaking the Jack Daniel's profile in this lineup. John J. Bowman is a Buffalo Trace product, and if you know, Buffalo Trace to me comes across as grape popsicle stick. That oak comes through pretty strong. It's like you're sucking on a grape popsicle stick and you're extracting that oak, and I think that is what this is. So this is going to be the John J. Bowman. And then because of the single barrel profile of the Four Roses 100 proof, I think that mint is coming across pretty strong here. So my guess would be that this is going to be the Four Roses. And only because of the proof point, I think this is going to be the Evan Williams. This came across as really good bourbon notes, but it was lacking ABV, and it seemed to be very flat from front to back. So I'm guessing this is going to be the Evan Williams, which only leaves the Russell's Reserve left. I'm pretty sure I got this 100%. If you are familiar with any of these whiskeys or all of these whiskeys, let me know in the comments down below which single barrel bourbon you prefer. And keep in mind, I have another 6-glass flight of single barrel bourbons coming up. I have Henry McKenna 10, the Benchmark single barrel. I have a Wyoming whiskey single barrel, Old Forester, Baker 7, and then I have the Kentucky Spirit from Wild Turkey. That's going to come up again at the end of December, at some point in December. So let me know in the comments down below what your favorite available single barrel bourbon would be. If you are familiar with any of these, what would your ranking be? And then also do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do: like, subscribe, share, and like I had just mentioned, comment down below on any of these, or just in general, give me some comments about the channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and reveal what I have. And at the very end, we're gonna go ahead and create a blend and see how these things mix together. Now the challenge is if I could remember what my order was. This was in 5th place, and I thought this was the Evan Williams single barrel. And if I can see, yes, so Evan Williams single barrel is coming in 6th place, not 5th place, so 6th place. My 5th place I thought was the John J. Bowman, and it is. So the John J. Bowman is in 5th place. I wasn't too crazy about the mint, and I think that mint was the giveaway for the Four Roses. So in 4th place, I thought this was Four Roses, and absolutely it is the Four Roses. 3rd place with the almost cherry note. I do like the proof on this quite a bit. I like the dusty, and it's really weird. I'm not much of a spice forward bourbon person, but for some reason today this is actually coming across as pretty good for me. And I thought this one was going to be the Russell's Reserve. I can't see anything, but I do know that that was upside down. And yes, this is the Russell's Reserve. Now in my head, I absolutely know the profile of Jack Daniel's and Knob Creek. So this is going to be in 2nd place, and there's no mistake on the profile. This has to be the Jack Daniel's single barrel barrel proof. And sure enough, it is the Jack Daniel's, which means 1st place. And moving on to the next round is going to be the Knob Creek 9 single barrel, 120 proof. Now I have to let you guys know, earlier in the year, I ended up having the sickness, and after about a 2-week break, the Knob Creek 9 single barrel was the first whiskey I actually tasted after I recovered from the sickness. And for some reason, this is sticking in my head as one of my favorite whiskeys of the entire year. So don't be surprised if you see this in one of my whiskey of the year at the end of December. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. But before I go, I need to make sure I get a blend together and see where this kind of ranks with all of my other blends. Some are hits, some are misses, but you're never going to know what's good or what's bad until you try it. So let me go ahead and get an extra Glencairn, dump a little bit of each one of these into that, and see what the blend is like. All right, so I got that one front and center. There is no scientific measurement happening. I'm just pouring a little bit of each in here. Ooh, that was a little bit of a heavy pour on the Jack Daniel's. Knob Creek, Evan Williams, and the Russell's Reserve. Coat the glass, see what we got on the nose. The Jack Daniel's is coming through quite a bit, maybe because I poured a little bit more in there. I do get a dusty note, and it's interesting now that, and maybe it's just in my head, but I do get a little bit of a cherry note Definitely a lot of oak. The ABV is stinging my nose just a little bit. A little bit of chocolate is coming through. It is a little bit sweet. And if I had to be pinned down on the actual sweetness that I'm getting, it would be a fruit sweetness. I would say cherry and berries. A little bit of chocolate, a little bit of leather, and a pretty good amount of ABV. It smells really, really good. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate and see if this is anything worth trying or actually anything worth messing with to see if I can get a like a combination here, different ratios. It does smell good. Let's get it on the palate. Oak, cherry, and banana. Good amount of sweetness. I like the ABV. Leather and tobacco is really showing up. It's really hitting the side of my tongue pretty hard. Slight amount of bitterness. And then as it's traveling to the back of my palate and the finish, medium finish, the oak, chocolate, and banana notes are lingering. It's not bad. It's definitely probably going to be ranking up higher than the Evan Williams on its own. I hate to say it, but the Four Roses on its own, and probably higher than the John J. Bowman. So in the grand scheme of things, this would probably end up being a blend that would be put into fourth place within this blind. All right, so there you have it. That's where I'm going to leave it. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And until the next time, I hope you're enjoying your journey, because to this point, I am certainly enjoying mine. And until the next time, we'll talk to you later. I'm not going to actually do this. I'm going to do the Knob Creek 9. I like this quite a bit. Yeah, this is just hitting every single note. It's checking every box that I like. It's a good one. Talk to you later.